Good evening everyone. This video is on part 5 of a pictorial biography of Sakyamuni Buddha, and the race story continues like this. This time Prince Siddhartha went out on foot. He was disguised as a youth of a noble family and was followed only by Chandaka, who also dressed differently in order not to be recognized. So the prince for the first time saw the activities of an ordinary day in the capital. Many people were doing all kinds of different kinds of work. Blacksmiths pounded iron pieces with steel hammers to make plows, sickles, and bouncing cartwheels, etc. Along the streets, there were shops of wheat merchants. Craftsmen were making all kinds of adornments for women. Dye shops were full of cloth of various colors. Bakeries sold cakes to people waiting to buy them. At that time, Prince Siddhartha felt happy and was very glad to see the conditions of these industriously working people. But soon bad and ugly things began happening again. While the prince was strolling along, he suddenly heard a moan on the roadside, which sounded as if someone was calling for help. The prince approached the area, looked at the place where the moon was coming from, and found a man lying on the earth. His body was twisting incessantly. Both his face and body were discolored, with a nauseating purple hue. His eyes rolled back and forth in his head, and every time he struggled to rise, he fell heavily to the ground again, never making it to his feet. Since Prince Siddhartha was very merciful, he quickly approached the man and held him up, placing his head upon his own knee, causing him to feel gradually comfortable, and then asked what caused the pain and why he couldn't stand up. The man tried to say something, but he did not even have the strength to speak. Chandaka hastily approached, and the prince asked, Chandaka, tell me why this man is in this other condition. Look how he's breathing. Why does he not answer me? Chandaka shouted in horror, don't touch this man, he's a sick person. Poison flows in his veins and toxic poisons are boiling inside him, making it difficult for him to breathe, so that finally he will stop breathing. The prince asked, will other people be like this? Could I too become like this? Chandaka answered, if one comes into close contact with him, one may very possibly become like him. My prince, please lay him down and don't touch him, for the poison of the disease in his body may be passed on to you, and then you may well become sick like him. Chandaka, apart from this illness, are there still more serious illnesses? Yes, there are many, and they are all in the same way painful. Are there no people who can help? Can't mankind conquer the sickness when it attacks? That's too frightful. It's very common and no one knows on what day you will fall sick. For one can fall sick anytime and any place. Is it true, Chandaka? Anybody may fall ill, including my whole clan and even me? Yes, even I may fall sick also. If it is like this, then the existence of man in the world is only to be feared, since nobody knows whether he might not, when he goes this evening to sleep, be transferred on the following morning into a sick man like that one. Chandaka, is that so? Yes, it is so. No one in the world knows when he may become sick, suffer, and end by dying. Death, what does it mean? It's very strange, Chandaka. What is death? Please, prince, just look over there. The prince looked where Chandaka directed him, and he saw a group of people marching along lamenting. 4 men in front of carriage, a stiff, immobile person on a boat, a person with shrunken cheeks and gaping mouth, speechless and ugly. Although the 4 men rocked the boat, they were carrying quite sharply and clumsily. The person lying on the top did not say a word. The prince watched the group moving along and began to wonder why they all wept and why the person on the boat did not caution the carriers to proceed more carefully. After moving on a little further, the group halted. They placed the person they were bearing on the top of a pile of wood and started a fire. The prince was shocked and his hair stood on end. Yet the person continued sleeping quietly, even as the fire began to lick his head and feet. The prince asked in a trembling voice, saying, Chandaka, why does that man stay asleep and let them burn him? That man is dead. He has feet but can no longer walk. He has ears but can no longer hear. He is not conscious of anything. He has absolutely no feeling for heat, cold, fire, or snow. He is already dead. Dead? Chandaka, this is death. Shall I, the son of king, also die like that man, my father, Yashodhara, and all the people I know? Will they also someday be like that man on the pile of wood? Anybody who is alive will someday die. There is no way to avoid it. No one can live forever. Men cannot stop the coming of death. The prince remained silent and said no more. He felt the fearfulness of death increasing everybody, without there being a way to escape death. Prince Siddhartha quietly returned to the palace, went to his room, sat down alone, and thought deeply about what he had seen. Finally, he had to say, Finally, he said to himself, it is too frightful that everybody in the world must die someday and that no one can prevent this. There must be some way to avoid it. I shall do all I can to discover the way by which Father Yashodhara, myself, and all the people will no longer be controlled by the power of old age, sickness, and death. I must do my best to find the way. Enough for today. Good night. Hey! Good night. Say good night to everyone.
झालं